Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and finally it's time for a match reaction video. Celtic are through to the quarter-finals of the League Cup. I've had a few libations, so it's finally time to talk about the game. Not too much to talk about. Celtic have done what they were supposed to do, so we'll try and talk about that. If you haven't, you know what to do. Hit like, hit subscribe. It would be much appreciated. I will try my best to be as coherent as possible through this video. But it was my first time at Celtic Park this season. I felt like that was calls for a bit of a celebration. A wee drama here or there. And we've had that. So I'm trying my best to remember what happened today. Trying my absolute best, as professional as possible here on Ryan 118. Yeah, listen, we've got 45,000 subscribers. We've not got that through professionalism. We've got that through charm and wit. So we'll try our best today. Seriously, let's get on a serious level here. Let's try and take things to reality for a moment. Celtic won today. It was a great way to continue our fine start to the season. We carried on from what we done last week at Easter Road. We translated that over to a Parkhead performance, and it sees Celtic go through to the quarter-finals of the League Cup. Only a win was acceptable this afternoon at Celtic Park. Nothing else would have been accepted. And they'd went out, and listen, it was one of those days, you know. I left Celtic Park this afternoon before I headed off to the Prince Charlie for a pint. I left Celtic Park thinking to myself, what am I even going to say in my match reaction video? What can I say that isn't just standard stuff? Celtic went out there this afternoon in a game against Hibs and just done the business. You know, it wasn't anything. I don't think it was an example of what Celtic can do this season. I don't think it was the greatest performance you're ever going to see. But it also wasn't poor by any stretch. It was just one of those bog standard, I know it was Sunday 3 o'clock, but Saturday 3 o'clock home performances in domestic football. It was the favourites, Celtic, going out and winning the game. But they won convincingly. They won being the better team. They won making the better chances. And listen, I think Hibs at this moment in time are a state. There's no denying that. I think Hibs are probably the poorest I can remember Hibs being in the top flight in a long, long time. And Celtic had to make short work of them, and they've done exactly that. So there is parts of the game we can dissect. There is parts of the game that we can take into account here and discuss in depth. But realistically, you know, you're talking about a result that Celtic should have and could have got today and did get today. I'm not making much sense now, am I? There's no denying Celtic were better in the first half this afternoon. I thought we seen the best of Celtic in the opening 45. Quite similar to the Easter Road performance last week, where I think you could say we've seen the best of Celtic in that opening 45. The team selection was interesting, with Dyson MAEDA chose through the middle rather than MAEDA, but that choice proved dividends for Brendan Rodgers as he scored 2 in the first half, and he gave Celtic that 2-0 lead. Dyson MAEDA looked fantastic today, and I think that it might end the discussion of Celtic looking for a third choice striker. And I think, do you know what, honestly, I'm not too fussed at this point. I think for me, the remainder of this window has its priorities, and the third choice striker isn't huge on that list right now. Now, I know there was some information that came out today via Brendan Rodgers on Kyogo, which could really stress the importance of bringing in a third choice striker, but we'll put that aside for a moment. I think that Dyson MAEDA showed today that he can be reliable through the middle, and with our, I think, very good choice of wingers, and obviously Palma, Kuhn, Forrest, these different players, I think that it shows that you can rely on MAEDA through the middle if it comes to that. He's played through the middle for Japan on a number of occasions. He played through the middle for Japan in the World Cup in Qatar 2022. Today he looked brilliant there. He was really, really sharp, and within 4 minutes he'd given Celtic the lead at Celtic Park on the end of a good pass, just like he was for Kuhn's pass in the second goal. Listen, he's electric, Dyson MAEDA, and when he plays well, he is so valuable to this team. Now, I know he's somebody that we criticise quite often for his maybe perhaps his lack of technical ability. But I think through the middle today, he actually showed a very good amount of technical ability, more than he normally would on that left-hand side. I think that you could argue that case today. I think that you could maybe argue that Dyson looks more comfortable through the middle, and maybe the pressure is alleviated from him a little bit when he's through there, rather than having to create the chances through the middle, through the wings. He can actually be on the end of them through the middle, and maybe that takes that pressure off him a little bit. But he was there for the first, he was there for the second. The not-so-bald genius is shining for Celtic. It was good to see him back in the team after, of course, a couple of, early mishaps for him with missing the first game and whatnot. I'm just glad to have Dyson MAEDA back in the team. He is so valuable, and I think that even with those maybe technical lapses that he has sometimes on the ball, he makes up for it for what else he can do with it. He is such a unique player. He's truly one of a kind. My time supporting Celtic, I can't remember many players that have been like Dyson MAEDA, and I think he proved that in his performance today. His 2 excellent finishes, which gave Celtic a comfortable 2-0 lead. We couldn't really follow on from that in the first half. It was a bit Jekyll and Hyde from us as Hibs found their way back into the game. It was a poor goal to concede. Martin Boyle's cross was met by a man whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce. And we could have defended it better. Kasper Schmeichel was left kind of for dead. And I thought it was really unfortunate for him to, he could have kept 3 clean sheets out of 3 in competitive games. But I think the defence sort of let him down in that moment. We could have defended that better. But listen, as I said, it was Jekyll and Hyde in the first half. For me, I think there was a big difference between the opening, say 25-30 minutes, and then the closing 15. I think Hibs managed to kind of find himself into the game a little bit more. But we were still up going into half time, and Hibs are a tough team. I mean, I know they're a state at the minute, but they're always a tough team to beat. And especially in the Cup, where it becomes a different game, where it is one and done, and where Hibs can turn it up to try and get themselves through to the next round. I thought we played really well. I was really impressed in the first half on the wings. I thought Forrest and Kuhn both played really, really well. It was the final third where I thought we were best today. I think we always talk really highly of the midfield three, McGregor, O'Reilly, Hatate. But for me, I think Kuhn, Forrest and MAEDA were really the talking point of the first half. I thought they really made the first 45 minutes worth watching. And we got into the half 2-1 up. It's all about being cautious. It's all about dominating that second half. And that's exactly what Celtic done. So second half kicked off, and you really said this was the 45 where Celtic was just in utter control of the game. It wasn't the most electric second half or half of football you're ever going to see. It wasn't like we were creating chances out of our ears, but we were just in control of it, and there wasn't too much to worry about, to be quite honest. We found our third goal, finally. Took a wee bit of time, 11 minutes. Nicholas Kuhn got that goal. He continues on his great form. I don't know what Hibs are doing. We just take control of a situation and capitalise on a really poor piece of play from the Hibs defenders and Hibs goalkeeper. But Nicholas Kuhn has been all about that in his opening few games this season. I think he's really been about that, capitalising on mistakes and just being aware. And, sometimes in football, just analysing the situation is really, really important, and being one step ahead of the opponents is high up there. You've got to be able to analyse and read what's happening in front of you, and I think Nicholas Kuhn is really, really good at that. Listen, his goal's not anything to shout about today. It's poor from Hibs, and he's just there to capitalise on it. But you can't sleep on the little things in football that make these things happen, and part of that is Nicholas Kuhn being aware to the situation and analysing what's happening ahead of him. It gets in there, it gets the third for Celtic, it all but secures the victory. But we were in control of the game from that point. I mean, that was the 56th minute. Celtic from there on out to the end of the game, I thought were just really, really good. We made our substitutions, who I thought came on and done well in the game. They got their minutes, they got their time in. And MAEDA returned to Celtic Park to a great ovation. Listen, one of the things we can talk about from today's game, the game is bog standard stuff. It's what you expect of the club. It's what you expect of Celtic as this squad to go out and beat anybody in Scotland. And I don't mean that in an ignorant or arrogant fashion, but this is what Celtic should be doing. They should be beating every team in Scotland just by bog standard levels. We've done that today. But one thing that we can definitely take away from is, we keep hearing about this competition at the other side of the city, and we keep hearing the challenges to the biggest team in Scotland. Today is an example of why Celtic are the biggest club, the biggest team in Scotland. We sold out Celtic Park this afternoon. The place was full. The place was lively. The atmosphere was great. Did you see Hampden Park yesterday? Did you see the abhorrent turnout for Rangers in their quest to beat St Johnstone? There's levels in this city. The levels are controlled by the current league holders, the current Scottish Cup holders, the current team who are ready to take Rangers to the cleaners at the end of the month. Celtic control what's happening in Scotland at the minute. We are the biggest team in Scotland, and that goes out to show the support. The support show that this afternoon, unlike an empty Hampden yesterday. That's nothing to sleep on. You know, I understand Rangers fans might watch this video and go, you're just nitpicking. We're at Hampden, we're not at Ibrox. Celtic could have been at Hampden this afternoon and they would have sold the place out ×2. It's as simple as that. Celtic are the biggest club in Scotland. And we're through to the next round. We've got Falkirk in the next round, which is at Celtic Park. We should be winning that tie. If not, then, you know, big conversations to be had. But listen, 90 minutes through today. Adam Meada's reception was great. I'm so happy to see him back at Celtic Park. Yeah, he had a quiet game when he came on. I know people will want me to maybe overanalyse that performance. People will be asking, Ryan, Ida was quiet today. We spent £8.5 million, and why did he no score a hat-trick? Wind your neck in. He was on for half an hour in a League Cup last 16 game when we were already through the tie. Adam Meada will pay dividends through time, and I think most fans are on board with that same sentiment. If you were one that was going to overanalyse his performance when he came on the pitch today, I think that says an awful lot about yourself. There's no need to overanalyse what Adam Meada done on the park today. We'll do that over time, and it wasn't this afternoon that was needing that or calling for that. So yeah, we're through. Woohoo! Happy days. Happy as Larry. I've got a Sharpie in my hands. Yep. Fantastic. Great. Brilliant. Not a bad performance. Can't criticise anybody. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed my match reaction. Yeah, I know I'm half scooshed. I actually don't feel like I'm that bad. You know, I think I've been quite good in this video. I've got my tea. I've had my dinner. I'm sobered up, if anything. But we'll go more in depth. And we'll talk more soberly tomorrow. But until then, I bid you adieu. Like and subscribe. God bless you. And I'll see you all next time.